Paul Maurice surprisingly steps down as head coach of the Jets. Now, I saw a Jets Nation thing the night before that was, it's time to move on from Paul Maurice. And there it is. I know the story right now is very much the Paul Maurice goes out on, he on his terms, quoting that, the guys didn't give up on me, the team he means. They just need a different voice. But Daniel, I'll tell you what I like about this, is that Paul Maurice has just played his cards perfectly. Whether he meant to do this or not, if the Jets weren't turning their game around, aka Blake Wheeler's out, wasn't scoring before, I think he had 1 goal by the time he got hurt, Shifley was starting to pick it up, but anyway. If the Jets had continued to sort of start middling out as they were, Paul Maurice was going to get fired, right?
Yeah, I thought so. I think that this team, it's weird to say that they peaked when they made it to the conference finals because they're so talented that they have so many great players and they just seem to never really come together and make that strong, long run again.
Well, it doesn't help when you lose Ben Sherrod.
Of course, yeah. That was
forget about Dustin Byfuglien, that guy, but Ben Sherrod. It doesn't help when you lose half your defense, right?
But that was the thing too, like I felt with them is that they lost half their defense in the offseason and then they gradually were able to rebuild it and then they were able to solve that secondary scoring, at least on paper. They were able to solve it. And it still just seemed like they were the same team.
I think if the Jets don't make... I don't get the sense that this is what Chipman is thinking, the owner of the Jets, for those of you who don't know. Do you not also have a kind of a look at Cheveldayoff's job here? Like, I was already saying he should have been canned from the Kyle Beach stuff. I think he got kind of lucky that his name wasn't more in that general block report. But, I know people were going on about how they've won the Line trade, even though Line has been, hurt this year and he hasn't really played in that. We haven't really seen Line true form. But, and Dubois has been great for them, but I still can't get over the fact that Blake Wheeler has that contract and the loyalty. See, if Paul Maurice had been fired, I think his legacy would have been his kind of blind loyalty to Shifley and Wheeler. You know what I mean? But what he kind of did, and just sort of taking it back to Maurice here, is the way that he sort of stepped down is he's never looked better to people. I think I've especially kind of been questioning his ability as a coach. Not saying he's a bad coach at all, but just where is he? Is he a hell of a regular season coach? Does he sort of not know how to make adjustments in that? Or whatever sort of questions you might have had about Paul Maurice, he sort of saved it in a very humble sort of press conference. And do you remember, this may have been at the start of last season, when a reporter in a press conference with Paul Maurice was asking about Blake Wheeler. And Maurice he took it personally. He's like, he's point per game, 11 games in. You're egging my captain. And I'm offended. He actually said he was offended. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I think Paul Maurice has sort of saved his reputation here. I'm not saying it was completely this was sort of this 4D chess move from Paul Maurice. Mm-hmm. But I think he played his cards very, very well. Because everyone's all of a sudden Paul Maurice is great. He's going to get a job in no time. I believe he's probably stressed out. He was the second longest tenured coach in the league. But,
yeah, he's been there a while. That's something too where I found with Paul Maurice. When we talk about how he is with his players, how long he's been able to do this job, is he was afforded, I don't say a longer leash, but he was afforded more possibilities and opportunities for him to kind of implement his coaching style there. And I think that, yeah, he got to go out on his own terms from what we know. This is from what we know. He got to go out on his own terms. And yeah, it's just something now that what happens now, because it wasn't a dramatic thing. It wasn't something where it's this team bottomed out and it's time to fix everything. It's just, they need the adjusting and he knew it.
Mm-hmm. I was having a discussion with a buddy of mine. He's like, man, I don't know if Paul Maurice,
Wait,
I think he was a
Buddy
good
Robinson?
Not Buddy Robinson. Okay. A buddy of mine, he was like, yeah, Paul Maurice did it. And I kind of questioned, remember that famous John Tortorella quote? He's like, as a head coach, you got to get your best players to play, right? I wonder if also some lines in the sand with Maurice this season, if he was eventually fired, was Shifley wasn't performing to start. Blake Wheeler hadn't. I'm gonna ignore that Kyle Connor is tied 10th in scoring right now, selectively, but like how the Patrick Laine. So I still want to know what happened behind the scenes there. I think there's some questions, and again, the smoke screen, great Pokemon move, lower the evasiveness of your opponent.